I'm Dr. A. Kumaravel, Professor and Dean, School of Building and Mechanical Sciences, K.S. Rangasamy College of Technology, Tiruchendur. I'm handling the course on finite element analysis, so one-dimensional problems. Okay, so here there are for solving the one-dimensional problem, you have the bar element or you can have the beam elements are available. Okay, to solving this problem. So where this can be used, you see that the stresses. So like this. Okay, so the stresses. Maybe here the load is applied. Something like a W. So these are all the pivot points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. So you see that if you have something like a then electric tower also, then it is looks like this. Then cables are going along this way. So here then it is formed as a truss. Okay, so this is the electric poster. So similarly, so here these are all the elements. This is the frames are connected through the pivot point. Okay, trusses, and it will take only the axial load. It will take only the axial load. Something like then you have the frame like this. You can apply only the axial load into this from this element and then it will absorb, and also then there will be a displacement only in the x direction. So displacement only in the x direction. Okay, so whatever the load applied on the structure, then you get the displacement, but we don't know the displacement value. That is the unknown value. Whatever the unknown value in the structural problem, this is called as the degrees of freedom. Okay, so now here the displacement is the degrees of freedom. So in this member, so this is bar element. It is taking only the axial load. So there will be a displacement only in the axial direction. That means axial direction is denoted as x. So then the displacement only in the axial direction x. The load will be taking care only in the axial direction, that is in the x direction. That's all. Whether it may be a tensile load or it may be a compressive load. Okay. So whereas in the beam, in the solid also you can consider, you have the solid rod like this. Okay, so this may be divided into number of elements. So this is subdivided into number of elements. Okay, whereas here all the frames is called as the element. Okay, so this is element, this is element. So what is the difference between these two? In the first chapter itself, I told that there are two types of discretization. One is the natural discretization and another one is the artificial discretization. So the natural discretization example is a truss. Here I am not discretizing anything. As it is I am using, so these frames are element and the pivot points are node. This is natural discretization. Whereas I am taking a solid rod. Okay, so I am subdividing into number of elements. The solid rod is subdivided into number of elements. This is artificial discretization. This already I have discussed in the first chapter. Then if you are not able to understand this, so probably you can understand now the difference between the truss and difference between the solid. Okay, so truss element frames itself I am considering as a element, and the all the frames are connected with the pivot point. Okay, so those pivot points are considered as a node here. Whereas in the solid rod, so I am subdividing into number of elements. Okay, and then there will be a number of nodes are there. Okay, so this is artificial discretization. This is natural discretization. So here also then you can use the bar element. So here also it will take only the axial load. Okay. So then if you have the long rod, one end is fixed, then this is the free end. You apply the load, what will happen? So the rod will elongate with a small displacement. Then each and every point you have the displacement. Whereas in this point, this displacement value is 0. Okay, so then if you take the displacement notation is u in axial direction, then here the u is 0. So whereas here there will be displacements are there. We don't know how much the displacement occurs when you are going to apply load as a 10 Newton. So for that, for evaluating the displacement only, I am using the finite element method. Okay, and I am solving the solution for getting the displacement in the nodal points. So say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4 like that. So this is U1, then this second node U2 displacement U3. So this is U4 like that. Now here one end is fixed, that is first nodal point is fixed. So then U1 is equal to 0. Okay, so I am arresting this point, whereas the displacement U2, U3, U4 will exist. So for that, getting that value, I am using the finite element method and solving the simultaneous equation in the matrix form, and I am getting the solution for this. Okay, so this is the one-dimensional problem. Okay, so then if the displacement is notation is taken as U, okay, so that is equal to, it is function of what is that, u. So then u of x. So because it will take only the axial direction, whereas the stress is also a function of x. Then the stress value vary with respect to the distance x. Okay, and whereas the strain E is equal to the E of x, function of x. Okay. So then if you are applying the stress strain relationship, sigma is equal to E into epsilon. Okay, so or you take as E. So the sigma is nothing but the stress value. So then E is Young's modulus. It is a material property. And then E is nothing but the strain value. E is nothing but the strain value. So in this finite element approach, you need some relations. One is the total potential energy I am going to use for deriving the finite element equation. Okay. The second one, I need the stress strain relationship. And third one, I am using the strain displacement relationship. I will tell you where I am going to use this. So strain displacement relationship. So then everywhere these three relationships will be there: total potential energy, stress strain relationship, strain displacement relationship. Okay. If I have the rod like this hanging, the top end is fixed. Okay. I am applying the load. Here is P. See, what are all the forces are available here? One is with respect to self weight and density. With respect to the self weight, so there will be a body force within the rod. Okay, so this is called as F. So one is body force F. Okay, so the second one is I am also applying the force in the surfaces. So this surface force is nothing but the traction force T. The traction force T. So here this force is unit per volume. So because it is due to the self weight of the solid. So this traction force is applied only on the surface. So then unit per area. The value is unit per area. Okay, so the third one is the point load. See the point load P, I am applying at this point load applying the load value is P here, right? And so the force acting on the particular point, okay, which causes the displacement when you are going to apply the load, that is the point load P. So now you have three type of forces are there. Okay, so one is body force, the second one is traction force, and third one is the point load. Right. So now we can use the finite element modeling. How we are going to model the problem. In the finite element modeling, first what we will do, any domain we are going to discretize. So that is our procedure. Any domain we are going to divide. So take, this is the solid rod. Okay. So then dividing into number of elements. Here on load. So up to this second node. So now this is element number 1. I already told that if I am encircling the number, so that is called as the element. If I am not encircled, that is the node. So here this is the node number, and then this is the node number, this is the element number. Okay. So then the other division from here to here, so this is this another node, so here. So now the rod is divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements. I am going to subdivide it into 6 elements. Okay, so then the node numbers are marked without encircle. So 4, 5, 6, 7. So here also node will be there. And then element number, how to note? This is second element. So this is third element. This is fourth element. This is fifth element. This is sixth element. So here, so how many elements are there? So number of element is equal to 6. So how many nodes are there? Number of nodes equal to 7. You see here, number of elements 6, then number of node is 7. So the degrees of freedom per node, how many? Each node, then I have only 1 degrees of freedom, because this is bar element, it will take only the axial load in the x direction. So that means in the node number 1, I have only one displacement in the x direction. I don't have the displacement in y direction. I don't have the displacement in the z direction. Okay, I don't have any rotation. Okay, or I don't have any twisting moment. Nothing is there. I am using only the bar element. Then it have only 1 degrees of freedom, that too displacement. So here this is a one-dimensional problem. So it will take, the element behavior is, it will take only the axial load in the x direction. So the displacement only in the x direction will exist. So then each node I have only one displacement here. Okay, so this is a now structure. I subdivided into 6 elements. Each node I have the 1 degrees of freedom. Okay, each node I have 1 degree of freedom. So the total entire body now, entire body, how many degrees of freedom? So total degrees of freedom, so that is equal to number of nodes into number of DOF per node. So that is equal to number of nodes, how much? 7. Then each node, how many degrees of freedom? It is 1. So that is equal to 7. The total degrees of freedom is 7 in the entire body. In the entire body, only 7 degrees of freedom. If I take only the one element, okay, so only the one element. So this is node number 1, this is node number 2. So this is element number 1, okay. So here I have one displacement, here I have displacement. So that means total degree of freedom per element, total degree of freedom per element is equal to number of nodes per element, into number of DOF per node. So here the number of nodes per element is only 2. So this one number, this another node number, then 2 into, so number of degrees of freedom per node it is 1. So that is equal to 2. So that is the difference between total degrees of freedom in the entire body or domain you have considered or continuum you have considered. So that is equal to number of total nodes in the element, that is body, into number of DOF per node. So that will give the total degrees of freedom in the entire domain. I want to calculate only the total degrees of freedom per element. Okay, so then per element, so number of nodes in the element per element into number of DOF per node. So this is here only the 2 noded element, 2 into per degree of freedom, that is node per degree of freedom is equal to 1. So that is equal to 2, then 2. This is the difference between the total degrees of freedom for the entire structure and total degrees of freedom per element. You should know the difference between these two. Okay, so then only you can able to understand the concept, then how to discretize how many degrees of freedom are there, how many elements are there, like that.